Good evening and welcome to Sleepy Kitten's reading of The Religion of Tomorrow by Ken Wilber, presented in far too many 5-minute increments. If you're looking for some straight-up narration, you've come to the wrong place. Check out Audible for all your audiobook needs. However, if you're also looking for commentary and a hefty dose of frustration and sarcasm, you are absolutely where you ought to be. I started this book about a week ago and realized right away that this was not the kind of material I could just sit down and read. The language is convoluted, sentences run on forever, it's just not pretty. So, strap in, pour yourself a glass of wine, I know I have, and let's get started. Part 1. The Fourth Turning of the Dharma. What is a fourth turning? Buddhism is a unique spiritual system in many ways, while also sharing some fundamental similarities with the other great wisdom traditions of humankind. But perhaps one of its most unique features is its understanding, in some schools, that its own system is evolving and developing. This is generally expressed in the notion of the three great turnings of Buddhism, the three major stages of unfolding that Buddhism has undergone, according to Buddhism itself. The first turning of the wheel is early Buddhism, now generally believed to be represented by the Theravada school and thought to contain the historical Gautama Buddha's original teachings, which developed in the Great Axial period around the 6th century before Common Era. The second turning of the wheel, represented by the Madhyamaka school, was founded by the genius philosopher sage Nagarjuna around the 2nd century CE. The third and final to date great turning of the wheel, represented by the Yogacara school, originated in the 2nd century CE, but had its period of greatest productivity in the 4th century CE with the brothers Asanga and Vasubandhu. All three turnings have had profound impacts on every school of Buddhism that came after them. The Madhyamaka school, although critical of early Buddhism in many ways, nonetheless transcends and includes many of its foundational teachings, while criticizing those notions it finds partial, limited, or incomplete. And many Yogacara schools attempted to integrate and synthesize all three turnings. This was an ongoing, cumulative, synthesizing, unfolding, as if Buddhism was plugged into the great evolution of spirit itself. In other words, many adherents of Buddhism had a view that Buddhism itself was unfolding, with each new turning adding something new and important to the overall Buddhist teaching itself. My point can now be put simply. Many contemporary Buddhist teachers, agreeing with psychologists and sociologists that the world itself, at least in several important ways, is undergoing a global transformation, believe that this transformation will affect also Buddhism, adding to it yet newer and more significant truths, and resulting in yet another unfolding, a fourth great turning of Buddhism itself. Some people view the rise of Tantric Buddhism or occasionally Vajrayana Buddhism as a fourth turning, and from that perspective what we're speaking of is a possible fourth turning, but generally we will remain with the more common three turnings and take it from there. This fourth turning retains all of the previous great truths of Buddhism, but also adds newer findings from fields as diverse as evolutionary biology and developmental psychology, but only to the extent that they are in fundamental agreement with the foundational tenets of Buddhism itself, simply extending them to some degree as it were. Known by various names, from evolutionary Buddhism to integral Buddhism, the fourth turning, like all previous turnings, transcends yet includes its predecessors, adding new material while retaining all the essentials. And what is so remarkable about this development is that it is completely in keeping with this general understanding of itself that Buddhism has grasped, namely that Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist truth, is itself unfolding, growing, and evolving, responding to new circumstances and discoveries as it does so. Even the Dalai Lama has said, for example, that Buddhism must keep pace with the modern science or it will grow old and obsolete. A brief glance at Buddhist history will show what is involved. Original Buddhism was founded on such notions as the difference between samsara, the source of suffering, and nirvana, the source of enlightenment or awakening. The three marks of samsaric existence, that is, dukkha, anicca, and anatta, and the Four Noble Truths. Life as lived in samsara is suffering. The cause of suffering is craving or grasping. To end craving or grasping is to end suffering, and there's a way to end grasping, namely the Eightfold Way: right view, right intention, right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right unitive awareness. All right, so that is your first little preview of the writing that is involved in this particular book. It does not get any better from here, I promise. I will continue reading some more next time. Enjoy. Goodbye.